So I did a kind of like whistle-stop talk for about sort of 40 minutes on the work I made at university, and then ending on the work I make now for a company called Anyways, who I actually am employed by two guys that studied graphic design at Brighton many years before me, which is a lovely kind of tie-off. But then I also spoke about that kind of gap in the middle, which is, I think, one of the interesting bits. People often end up in a job that they feel really proud of or making great work. But it's that gap in the middle where things can go like this. And I think it's really interesting for the students to hear about that. And sometimes for people that gap is 6 months. Sometimes it's non-existent, sometimes it's years. And for me, actually, it took quite a few years. I managed to find work in London and it was fantastic. And it was like, I learned so much. But yeah, it was a huge learning process after university about what the industry was like. If I look back, I probably would have spent more time actually doing internships and learning a bit more about what office real world life was like. And I think I could have done that in tandem. A lot of students did in tandem with studying. I started university to study graphic design because I wanted to make record covers and I wanted to just make album covers and stuff like that, you know, because that was the coolest, funnest thing. But the record industry didn't probably blossom in the way that it used to. So the kind of work I wanted to do was different. I actually, as university, I wanted to be a graphic designer. And as I went on, I realized how much I enjoyed making things and building things and went much more towards a set design route. And now I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where I physically make things or I'm involved in projects where things are physically made, like a window display or an event installation or something like that, but also come at it from much more of an art director, graphic design angle. So it's really nice, to be honest, a really nice place to play at the moment in that kind of intersection. My role is a creative at Anyways, and that's a really general role. I don't think most offices have such a general role, but it's kind of somewhere between an art director, a designer, just a kind of advertising ideas person, all elements of strategy, lots of stuff in there, which is great. I think one of the things about the place I work is that they encourage not necessarily specialising in a certain thing. So we specialise in not specialising. My probably two pieces of advice to give to students would be do the work that really inspires you to an extent. Do the work that really inspires you. Don't just do what you think a graphic designer should do. I think that's where a lot of people get lost. Graphic design is so broad, it means so many things, and people get into their heads that it means that they have to be a magazine designer or they have to do a certain kind of logo design, and it's such a broad discipline. And I think just go broad and collaborate with as many people in Grand Parade and the amazing university as possible. So that's one. And then my other thing is kind of linked to that, but Brighton is such a rich creative environment. Grand Parade is incredible in terms of, like, you know, being where I am now in my career, like all the people that, like, oh, that guy from sculpture, that photographer, these are all like legit established people. And, you know, one of the best things about Brighton is the network of people around you, you know. I've been employed by ex-Brighton people. I collaborate with ex-Brighton people all the time, and it's such a great extended family. One of the best things here is I think the community feel, that across particularly the graphic design and illustration course, that being a shared course, two different disciplines, encourage this like appreciation for different courses. Even though they're similar and they're linked, they're not completely different, it kind of encouraged a wider appreciation and encouraged collaboration, and that kind of bedded in with so many of us on the course that we collaborated the whole way through our 3 years, whether it's the person who sits next to you on graphic design, or it's like your housemate who's on sculpture, or whoever. And I think being good collaborators it's now the thing one of the things I'm most proud of is good collaboration, and it's a thing that I do constantly in industry, which is great.